Yo, what's happening, everyone? Today is Sunday, August 28th. It's time to shave and it's time to talk. Why is it better when I say we need to talk instead of somebody else more woman than me? So today's brush is going to be Simpsons Chubby 3 Disca because I like them. Yeah. That's going to be lathering today's soap, which is Mickey Lee Soapworks' Ruby's Green. I love this stuff. It makes me happy. Yeah, I don't remember if it was Samantha or Eric, one of the two Mickey Lee people, had mentioned that Ruby's Green is likely going away after the end of this summer. And that makes me a pretty sad panda. So as soon as their web store comes back online, I'm getting some. Loading the brush. Today's shave is going to be a little shorter than normal. I don't like what's been happening with my beard. So up here, so I'm kind of resetting it. I'm letting all this grow. Got about a week's growth or so up there, and yeah, like I said, it's resetting, and I'm looking forward to getting that back under control. This is the Mickey Lee Soapworks new soap formulation, which is very, very good. If you don't have anything in this, formulation, in the words of Smokey, you need to see what's up. It's good. This soap is like tomatoes. The main things that I get is tomatoes, and I don't mean like the actual fruit, like the leaves and the stems, which have that really tomatoey smell. Oh, and soil. I'm talking about the really rich black topsoil. The stuff they sell in bags, you know what I'm saying? Potting soil or whatever they call it at Lowe's. Yeah, this stuff is very, very, very good. And like I said, they said that it's gone at the end of this summer. So if that's true, then, so be it. That's just the way of the world. But again, like I mentioned, I will be picking some up from you guys, Samantha and Eric, when you guys open the stove back up. So there's that. Excuse me. Went on a really nice drive today. I usually do that on Sundays, if I spend them here. As much as I don't like this place, the area around the city is beautiful around here. It's dope. So I hopped on 75 North for a bit and got off on Stinking Creek Road. You cannot pass up a road called Stinking Creek Road. I did not smell a stinking creek, and I wasn't too terribly happy about that, but it was a fun drive nonetheless. Felt a little backwoods back there. Lots of Old Testament-y signs and lots of political opinions out there. So I made sure I had plenty of gasoline, and I had my, I always have my air compressor for my tires, but I made sure, once I realized that I was going to get off on Stinking Creek Road, as soon as I was able to, I pulled over to make sure that I had it so I can proceed instead of turning around back on the interstate. Excuse me. Yeah. Also, speaking of soaps that will be gone soon, the Hallows pre-order is still at one with Will over at Barrister and Man. So if you like it and don't have any, or if you don't know what's up, go ahead and sign up. I will say the splash, man. Wow, that splash really, really surprised me last year. It's very, very good. The soap is very, very good, but man, the splash is just really polishes it off, and it's incredible. Excuse me. All right, so that's that. And today's razor, Wolfman WR1SB. This one has a little bit. This one has a 0.67 millimeter blade gap. The normal ones have a 0.61 millimeter blade gap. So this one is just a wee touch increased, but not as much as my other Wolfman, which has a 0.74 millimeter blade gap. Blade in it is a Gillette Silver Blue. Okay, there were fights last night. Bit of an editorial before I start talking about the main thing that I wanted to talk about, i.e. last night's fights. Those judges last night were garbage. There were two decisions that I just didn't really understand at all. One on the undercard, and I wish I could remember the kids' fights. I think it was 145 pounders. Barbazo, I think maybe was the guy's name. I thought I had him winning the fight, and yeah, I had him winning the fight, and the judges did not. Also, I had Creepy Joe Lozon winning his fight versus Jim Miller last night. The judges didn't agree on that one either. Weird. Judging in mixed martial arts is, man, it's... I really feel for those guys that, you know... I really feel for those guys. They have to put their paychecks and livelihoods in those people's hands, man. It sucks. Anyway, so the main thing that I wanted to talk about was the main event. If you've been watching these videos for a bit, you know that I'm a man of jiu-jitsu. I like the grappling arts. Excuse me. Damian Maia fought last night. I was talking to Jason Rudman on Facebook about Damian Maia, and man, the dude, when he's going after you to put you on the ground so he can put you in his world, the dude is like, he's like a whirlpool. You know, once he gets his hands on you. And the thing is, he doesn't really go for very orthodox takedowns. Like, he doesn't always go for a double leg or a single leg, and he actually goes for the single leg more than the double leg. And unlike a wrestler, when they go for a single or a double leg, he doesn't care what position he's in once it hits the ground, so long as it's on the ground. Meaning he doesn't matter if he's on top or if the other guy's on top. In addition to his wrestling that he uses for takedowns, Damian Maia also has a very overlooked judo game. For reference on that, take a look at his fight versus Chael Sonnen, which was contested in middleweight, 185, the weight class above where he's at these days. But yeah, he used the judo takedown there and jiu-jitsu wizardry to finish the fight. Dude, that finish was so good, and the setup for it was genius. Anyway, so yeah, he was fighting Carlos Condit, who is himself he's not like ultra mega on the ground, but the dude is crafty. He knows what he's doing. He knows what's going on, and more importantly, he seems to always be able to have a pretty decent idea of what his opponent is doing while the fight is on the ground. Elbow. So, it got on the ground. The fight got on the ground. It got on the ground via a single leg takedown. And the whole fight lasted 1 minute and 58 seconds. You don't finish Carlos Condit. And you definitely don't finish him in less than 2 minutes. Got him on the ground. Maia started working his positions. He ended up in Condit's guard. Condit has a respectable guard. It's not one of those guards that everyone seems to sleep on, like Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone has a very good guard that nobody seems to ever remember until it's too late. I think the secret is out on Condit's guard. He also is very, very good at striking from the bottom, and he always has been. So yeah, he ended up in Condit's guard, and eventually floated over to the back for a rear naked choke. Now, Damian Maia never passed Carlos Condit's guard. If you, I'll post a link to where you can view the fight, or you were able to view it as of a couple hours ago. Hopefully it hasn't been taken down yet. But, yeah, if you look at the fight, he never fully passed his guard. He was able to get like a 3/4 mount, which is in the half guard, and Damian Maia's left knee was on the ground. He was never past Condit's leg, and was never able to flatten out the bottom of his leg on the mat. So he was close to a full mount, but he never had it. So Condit, realizing what was going on, gave Maia his back. And after about a minute and 30 seconds, Damian Maia is on your back. That's a death sentence, pretty much. I remember back in the day, BJ Penn taking your back was pretty much a death sentence. Not really the same league at all. And BJ Penn is my favorite fighter. Not to mention Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz got his back taken by BJ Penn, and he survived it. So he took his back and started working his rear naked choke magic, which, that's another funny thing, is that that's such a basic choke. You don't really see it a whole lot as a finish. It's one of the more common ones, but I don't know, it just seems you never see it. People just don't fall for it, quote unquote, anymore. But Damian Maia seems to choke everybody. And he didn't even have his forearm around Condit's neck, because even though it's called a rear naked choke, it's more of a strangulation. It's a blood choke rather than an air choke, meaning that the two arteries here are constricted by the squeeze that Maia generates. Maia's bicep closing off one, and his forearm closing off the other artery. Didn't even have it under his neck, under his chin like you should. Maia is just, he's one of those, guys that have been practicing jiu-jitsu for a long time have an unreal grip strength. And you can, even when they shake your hand, it's a little savage, like, yo, come on, man, stop trying to fight me on this handshake. So, yeah, he got it around, and he put that squeeze on him, and Condit had to tap. And you can see in the fight, I don't know if it was Condit being not very conscious or just him really not wanting to tap, but it just seemed that he didn't want to tap. So we tapped, and that was it. 1 minute and 58 seconds of the first round, if I'm not mistaken. because that's how good Damian Maia is. Damian Maia needs a title shot. He's, you know, people think he's not exciting, whatever, but when that guy fights and he does anything on the ground, people take notice. The entire crowd takes notice. They gasp. You can hear it, and you can hear him get hype when he's, you know, when he's getting to his position to go for his finish. So Stephen Thompson, Karate Boy, is likely going to fight Tyron Woodley for the welterweight belt. I don't see that as being a good matchup for Tyron Woodley. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Woodley lost his title to Thompson, if he is indeed, you know, having his first defense against Thompson. Excuse me. Damian Maia is on an unreal winning streak. I think it's up to 7. And he's been in the top 10 or the top 10 pretty much the entirety of that win streak. People don't do that. He's getting finishes. He's not decisioning people. Even though he's a grappler, he's not laying on people for the win. Anyway, like I was saying real quick, getting back to the point earlier about matchups, I think that Woodley is a tougher matchup for Maia because he has a better chance of stopping that takedown. But that's the thing, is that, like, Maia, he gets people on the ground. It's crazy. His takedown completion percentage is not the highest, but man, he gets people down. And he is so incredibly good at doing what he wants to do once it's down there on the ground. Again, it's almost like a death sentence. And it's not only jiu-jitsu. Condit mentioned last night that while they were on the ground, Damian Maia hit him with something that really rung his bell. And he said that, you know, that's not the only strike that he unleashed while he was on the ground, but he said that the way he links his striking and his jiu-jitsu positional advancement is like unlike anything that he's ever faced before. We're talking about a guy with, like, I think he's got like 35 fights, something like that. The guy's been around. I was reading on MMA Junkie, and in his last 4 fights, Damian Maia, he's absorbed 13 significant strikes in 4 fights, fighting top guys. That's insane. Maia deserves that title shot right now. He deserves it more than Thompson, I think. Thompson is coming off of a good win in Johnny Hendricks, but a lot of people think that Carlos Condit beat Robbie Lawler in Robbie Lawler's last successful title defense. So the welterweight division is interesting right now. I genuinely think, got myself right here, I genuinely think that Damian Maia has the best jiu-jitsu in mixed martial arts right now. I think he's I think his game is better suited for mixed martial arts than the other guy that you could consider, who would be Ronaldo Jacare Souza, who is hilariously good himself. He's got that really aggressive jiu-jitsu as well. And give me 1 second, let me do this. Word. Yeah, I think his jiu-jitsu for mixed martial arts right now is better than Souza's. So yeah, I think Damian Maia deserves your next title shot. But again, I think it looks like what's his name is going to get it, and I don't agree with it, but whatever. And by what's his name, I mean Thompson. Okay. People have asked for my thoughts. Hold on a second. Oh man, this stuff, dude. Seriously, you guys, that soap smells so good. Okay, so people have asked for my thoughts on a Wolfman razor with a 0.67 millimeter blade gap. I still think the 0.61 is a better daily driver for most people. This one it just seems more efficient. You know, it's not much of a blade gap difference, but where the difference is in the blade exposure. Blade exposure, meaning the amount of edge that sticks past the imaginary line created from the end of the top cap and the end of the bar. And there's just a wee touch. I think it's like 0.015 millimeter blade reveal, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, it's just a wee tiny bit more, and you can feel it. Still is not rough though. I did get myself here, but I mean it's done bleeding, so it's yeah. The silver blues work great in that thing. Pole silvers seem to be really weird in this razor, which is very strange, which I wasn't anticipating. I have an open comb one too, but I've let somebody borrow it, and regretting that decision. But whatever, I'm a pretty good friend. So yeah, 0.67 millimeter Wolfman. I'd say that it probably is right there with an above the tie R plate in terms of aggression / efficiency. So if you like the above the tie R plates, then I think a 0.67 millimeter Wolfman would be closer to what you're used to. Today's aftershave, Ruby's Green had to do it. Had to do it. These Mickey Lee Soapworks aftershaves are something else. Of all the alcohol-based splashes, they seem to have the highest percentage of alcohol. I think I just get more sting from them, and I like that. Oh. The soil, actually, very citrusy. This is the splash is more citrusy up front than the soap, which makes sense if you're talking about alcohol as the vehicle for scent rather than a soap base. There's not much stinging going on right now at all, which means this was a particularly good shave. Game of the castle. Going to Nashville next weekend, is it? The weekend before Labor Day, which I think is next weekend. Either way, I need to look at a calendar and go ahead and get this car reservation sorted out. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's pretty good. That's real pretty good. All right, everyone. No menthol. I think that's gonna be it. I will see you guys soon. Stay tuned. I think I've got good things to share with you guys in the coming future. Hope you've been well, hope you'll be well, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace, everyone.